Hey everyone, Rogue Gold here, and today let's talk about skills, shall we? This is always a big pain point and discussion topic when it comes to PvP, and throughout the content drought we are currently in, I've seen an increasing number of people say, man, when this new update drops, they better decimate skills and nerf them into the ground. And to be quite honest, I don't think that's the route you want to go down. That would satisfy a large crowd of people, for sure, but what about the crowd who really enjoys skills, who enjoys running those builds above all else? Now look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a skill user, right? The majority of builds I make and run in both PvE and PvP are weapon focused, but that doesn't mean I can't acknowledge and appreciate how skills fit into the larger division games and lore. And I love skills. I think they're a really cool solution to offering abilities in a more modern set game. And additionally, with TU12, and I don't really care that we're in TU13, I'm still going to call it 12 because that just makes sense. But with TU12, we saw skills finally reach a really good balance for the most part. Now they have multiple gear sets, exotics, and overall build choices to pursue in the game, and they're quite strong and viable, which hasn't always been the case in the past, even for PvE. And they're just fun. They're fun to use. However, this absolutely does not mean that there aren't outliers and things in need of correction where it pertains to PvP. I mean, why do you think, so many people are still infuriated by them to this day? And so today, I want to provide an alternative narrative to the decimate skills camp and offer a few suggestions on how I think skills should be rebalanced in a way that doesn't destroy their potency, but simply makes them more fair to fight against, because ultimately that's what we all care about, right? If I at least have a fair chance to counter something, then I can start to admit when someone outplays me. But currently, a lot of the skills, namely status effect ones, are just so punishing that you have no time to react, and it's just crazy. So what I want to do is offer a few of my suggestions. Now, I actually came up with a video with some of these ideas I did over a year ago during the original run of Season 1 after Woni dropped, but unfortunately, that video only got 581 views as of me checking this morning, so I figured it might be worth spreading the message one more time to a wider audience, because I'm definitely really interested to hear if you all agree or not. Now, one of the suggestions I made in that video actually was implemented, coincidentally, and that was that I said that they should add a hazard protection bonus to either the booster hive or revive hives, and lo and behold, they did to the booster back around TU 10 or 11, I believe, last year. Now, unfortunately, I think that has done very little over time to combat the issue, and that's primarily because they never got around to implementing that skill tier EMP scaling system they talked about, which, if you don't know, Bruce talked about doing this before he was pulled to Star Wars. Basically, the idea was that instead of a tier 0 EMP destroying any and all skills, the reaction would differ depending on the tiers of both the EMP and the affected skill. So, for example, a tier 0 EMP would only disable a tier 6 hive for a short time instead of destroying it and all of its charges, whereas a tier 4, 5, or 6 EMP would probably destroy most skills, which I think would have been a really cool thing to see, and I think it would have made the booster hive specifically much more viable to use. Maybe we'll see something like that in the new update, who knows? But if not, then the two ideas I want to put forward today I think would be relatively easy to do, and overall would just make fighting skill builds and specifically status effects so much more manageable and fair. And these things I'm going to suggest don't even touch the damage or strength of the skills themselves, so it wouldn't be that big of a blow to those who enjoy running them. So let's get into it. The two changes I propose they make to statuses across PvP and PvE, frankly, is having your agent be cleansed of any status effects upon both when you pop an armor kit as well as when you enter the downed state, because I think one of the biggest issues with fighting statuses in PvP is that unless you're structuring your build and sacrificing so many rolls to specifically counter statuses, you have no way to do so. You either have to roll hazard everywhere or run several skill tiers to get even a moderate booster hive, which can then just be destroyed by a random EMP. And that's not how it was in Division 1. Right, in Div 1, you can have zero investment into an immunizer support station, or for skill power, and you'd still be fully protected. That box would barely heal you, and it would have super low health, but it would still protect you if you placed it smartly. And if not that, then medkits themselves cleansed you, right? And you could run the adrenaline talent to give you immunity for 7 seconds. So why, in a game that has less healing options, at least direct ones, like, burst healing, would you make it even harder to counter statuses? Because you certainly don't have to invest anything to counter weapon damage, right? You lose your armor, pop a kit, and you're back to full. So why should it be any different for having to invest into countering statuses, is my question. Let's just think about what the two suggestions that I put forward would do for counterplay. Getting creeping death from your teammate and getting tagged by an insanely strong fire sticky, just pop one kit. And instead of only that replenishing your armor, you would now be cleansed of the status to keep fighting. Whereas currently, you could have not only a very narrow window of time to pop a kit without dying, right? Sometimes you just have like seconds or fractions of a seconds to get that thing off, considering it takes a second to for it to go. And sometimes you need 2 or 3 kits consecutively to stay alive when you get inflicted by a strong status and if you don't have that much armor. And that's just ridiculous to me. I see truly no reason why armor kits cleansing you of statuses would be anything to complain about. It doesn't give you immunity, right? If you keep playing recklessly, then you'll keep getting tagged by the statuses and eventually you'll die. You'll run out of kits. But this would just give the receiver an actual chance to stay alive if their build isn't fully tuned to counter the one potential thing they may run into. And this also wouldn't invalidate the already existing armor kit that gives you immunity. Demolitionist, I believe it is, gives you like burn, bleed, and blind protection or something. This proposal doesn't give you any immunity period, it just cleanses you. So now any spec would have a fighting chance, and if you want that immunity period, you can go and run the demo. So that's just the first suggestion. Interested to hear what you think about that one. And then secondly, and equally important in my eye, like I said before, is being cleansed upon entering the downed state. Again, I would imagine this would be fairly easy to implement, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You'd no longer just be given a death sentence if you go down with the status effect on you, because right now, it only takes a moderately strong status, and maybe even that's being generous. But a moderately strong status to be on you, and when you drop, you're dead. You'll get to crawl around for a few seconds. You know your team can hold X to revive you if they want to, but it doesn't matter how quickly they try, you're dead. You just bleed out or burn out. And again, there's just no effing counter. Like, what am I supposed to do to that? Now, let me be very clear. Again, this isn't immunity that I'm asking for. If I go down within the radius of a stinger hive, the next set of charges should kill me. If I'm on, if I'm down like right on a corner, and someone aims a chem launcher near me, the burn should kill me. But it's when you're down the street and you just get sniped by a fire sticky bomb, or you get hit by one of those stinger charges or a random shrapnel trap, and like I said earlier, if you don't kit in time, you're downed, and if you're downed, you're dead, and your team has no chance to bring you back or to save you in any way, no matter what they do. In a game that offers such a variety of counterplay options, it eludes me why there are so few to this one particular sector of builds. So there you have it, guys. Those are my relatively simple fixes to making skill and statuses more fair to fight, and I think it would genuinely greatly increase the tolerance people have to fighting these builds. Hell, they don't even have to do both of these things. Obviously, I would love them if they did it, but either let me cleanse myself with a kit or cleanse me when I go down, because I don't want to run hazard protection 24/7. If I wanted to run in and tank a stinger hive and tank a fire chem, then I could run that, and I don't care about running 6 skill tiers for a hive that doesn't give me full immunity and can be taken out instantly by an all red build's jammer pulse. Right? There's absolutely benefits to investing into the hard counters of status effects, but that does not mean that I should be stripped of any counterplay options when I come across some guy running a tier 3 fire sticky. That's just shouldn't be how it works, and I guarantee that if one or both of these changes were implemented, you would instantly see a much more tolerative PvP player base and a more fun experience overall. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts about the skill and status effect controversy. Do you agree that my proposals are a good compromise for upholding the integrity and importance of skills while offering people more options to counter them? Or do you think that they really are in need of a decimation, as many have suggested? Certainly leave all of your comments on that down below. I'm curious to hear what you all have to say, and if this is an issue that you guys really care about, then get the word out to the devs. You don't have to share this video per se, but tweet at Yannick and suggest him some of the simple ideas for more counterplay against statuses. If this update is scheduled for December, which I still fully believe it is, then time is running out to put in our word for what we'd like to see. Again, I don't imagine either of these things would be extremely complicated to implement, but they very well could be, and at the very least, they would take time, as with anything else in game development. So if you agree with the ideas here, then spread them around. Let's try and get this into the game, because I have a lot of suspicion that a lot of you will agree with me about the need for some of these changes. But of course, let me know down below if you don't. All right, everyone. Well, that is going to do it for me. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, Rogue Gold out.